Hi, my name is Keisha Jenkins, and I'm a property manager with Sacramento Delta Property Management, and I've been with the company for 13 years.
I am Shelby Chalberg. I am a property manager here at Sac Delta, and I've been in the industry for 5 years.
Hi, I'm Carissa, and I'm the Vice President here at the Auburn office, and I've been with Sacramento Delta for 13 years. Today, we're going to be talking about how to handle a tenant not paying rent. What are the procedures? What do we do? How do we handle it?
Fun. That one's fun.
I think everybody's going to think that we're going to say evict, but that's not always the best first option.
No.
Right.
People have different circumstances that come up in their lives, and I think that you do need to take that into consideration.
Absolutely.
With also keeping fair housing in mind, because we do need to treat all of our tenants equally. Again, at the end of the day, it comes down to the owner.
Right.
But we do need to, have a conversation. Having that rapport with the tenant is always very important, because if we see that their rent hasn't come in, we can call them, say, hey, what's up? What's going on? Maybe it was a accounting error. Maybe there was, they put it in the mail. We never got it. Whatever the case may be, give them an option to at least
Explain
respond.
themselves.
And rectify the situation first. Make sure that they pay their late fee along with their rent if it is indeed late.
Right.
If it is a non-payment of rent, they're not going to have rent until next month for another 2 weeks. You do need to call the owner, figure out how that's going to affect them, because they could be relying on those payments to make their mortgage payments. So it is, the owner's option to go ahead and place a 3-day notice in the situation that they want to move forward with an eviction. However, if it's, when it is balances that are less than the full amount of rent, sometimes tenants don't acknowledge their rent increases, or they don't change it in the portal to where it goes into effect. I have a tenant that racked up $300 because 6 months ago he got a $50 increase, and it's just $50. He shorted it every month.
Right.
So instead of, it's a tenant that's not going to be able to come up with $300 right off the bat, and I always give, the tenant an opportunity to maybe come up with a payment plan if the owner's okay with that.
Right.
But they do have to agree to it. They do have to pay like clockwork and check in with me, and I got to hold their hand a little bit. But it does save us from having to go through an eviction.
Yes.
We don't need to continue to add to the crisis
Exactly.
with housing around here right now. If we can keep tenants in place long term, that's the best option. And a lot of the time, those tenants are the ones that they've been there for 9-10 years. So not only are you going to have an eviction cost, but you're going to have a cost to redo carpet and paint and money blinds and all of this maintenance stuff that's going to have to go into it. So is it worth going through an eviction because of a small balance?
Right.
Although we do hold everybody accountable. It's in their rental agreement. We always pull the rental agreement if we need to. We send documented letters on a regular basis, and my tenants that do have a payment plan with me, which is 2 out of 160, they check in with me regularly because they respect that I gave them the respect to rectify it and make things right. And they're appreciative of it, so that we're not kicking them out. And the other thing is too, is if it's a tenant that maybe they're just delinquent on a regular basis, it's not, they're not missing 2 months rent. It's just they're delinquent and they're not going to ever be able to catch up. You may need to give them a change of terms saying, hey, in 60 or 90 days, your rent is going to be due earlier. So you need to try to account for that. And then also, maybe go through a 60-day notice rather than, if they can't rectify that, do it that way instead of just jumping straight to a 3-day notice and sending them to an attorney. Because unfortunately that is contributing to the housing crisis, is small payments or small balances are going straight to court.
Right.
But we do want to make sure that our owners are getting paid and the tenant is held accountable. That's the biggest thing.
Right.
So
I don't have anything to add to that because she said it all.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, just being fair and working with your resident,
Yeah.
Making sure that you're being fair with them and you understand their situation and where they're coming from.
Yeah.
And then also passing that on to the owner. They may be having some kind of a crisis where they're getting back on their feet and it might take a couple extra weeks.
Yeah.
So having that information to tell the owner, just to let them know what's going on and being fair.
Yeah.
You want to treat somebody how you want to be treated.
Exactly.
We do have to keep, the biggest thing though is we do have to keep fair housing into consideration. So
exactly.
treating all tenants alike. I can't, offer a payment plan to one person
And not extend it to
and not do
another.
it to
Yeah,
another,
exactly.
without the owner's permission, something
Right.
like that.
Exactly.
So I do the same thing with late fees, unfortunately, and I get a lot of slack about that, but I consider that a fair housing thing too. I don't waive late fees because if I waive one, I've got to waive all of them for that
Right.
month,
Mhm.
That's just how it is. I
Right.
try to make it fair, but I think people appreciate that it's fair.
Right.
And, you set your standard, you stick to your standard, and there's no questions asked,
Exactly.
It's always in the rule book.
Exactly.
So I think that's the best way to keep a happy tenant, happy owner, and avoid not,
The
missing
drama.
rent.
Exactly. Short and sweet. There you go.
I think that wraps it up.